It should come as no surprise to those familiar with the work of French provocateur Catherine Breillat that her latest film, last summer, her first in more than 10 years, might just be the most controversial film we'll get this year. And yet, this latest work of provocation might just be her most mannered film to date, at least on the surface. In a filmography defined by audacious explorations of varying taboos and transgressions, none of her films ever feel one and the same. You can single out one from throughout her 50-year career, whether it's Fat Girl, Anatomy of Hell, Romance, or A Real Young Girl, and you'll find works that utilize singular angles, genres, and perspectives to poke and prod at the things deemed forbidden. But I guess the one through line of her entire career is that abiding desire to toy with and go beyond our comfort levels, and her latest shows that, even at the age of 75, she's not done with the provoking just yet. Brea drops us into last summer with the stern, steady gaze of Anne, played by Lea Drucker, a respected lawyer who specializes in cases concerning abused minors. She's prepping a young client on how her assailant's defense team will play the old slut-shaming trick. We see in her professional life Anne is a champion of the young and vulnerable, a strong, steady woman who puts up with nothing. But soon thereafter, we get a glimpse into her personal life. It's a decidedly domestic life, living in a serene home in the French countryside, with her adopted young daughters and her older, duller, and less slim husband, Pierre, who she's very evidently devoted to. It's a mundane, highly structured domestic existence that is neither hell nor paradise to Anne. That secure structure, however, is disrupted when Pierre's troubled, estranged child from a past marriage, Theo, moves into their family home. His presence is first of the petulant and aggressive, constantly making a scene and being a nuisance, but as he settles in, his boyish charm and confidence soon takes over, and Anne is immediately drawn into his web. This may feel as if it's perfectly setting up the pieces for the tawdry stories of the younger, excited man and bored older woman's sexual fantasies, but Brea obviously doesn't fall into those cheap traps. In her adapting of the 2019 Danish film, Queen of Hearts, she actually strips away the graphic depictions of sex of the source, crafting a film that is far more interested in the aura of sexual curiosity that hangs over every single scene than it is in the full physical embodiment of it. Brea's obsession with the sheer complexities and contradictions of desire really comes to the forefront with this film, where she molds a forbidden attraction around grazing skin, long stares, gentle grasps, and stolen kisses. In turn, it's a film more concerned with laying bare the psyche of its characters than it is laying bare the bodies of the performers. But Brea has never been a straightforward provocateur in that way. She's instead a filmmaker that equally seeks to provoke philosophical questions as she does visceral reactions from her audience. But when Last Summer does explore this pair's sexual encounters, they are thoughtfully composed and relatively subdued in terms of Breat's other more graphic works. Her confrontational depiction of discomforting intimacy is still present here, but far less brash in its observations. We watch lengthy sex scenes entirely from Theo's moaning face, view Anne's passive reaction after coming down from an orgasm, or hold on their open, colliding mouths for what feels like an eternity. She lingers on the actors' expressions in these crucial scenes rather than on their naked bodies, but the film doesn't shy away from the fact that Theo is a boy, with many of these carnal moments serving to highlight that the image of a baby face resting next to that of an aged, older woman is unquestionably creepy. Nothing is ever sentimentalized, even those moments intoxicated with the gradual kindling of this pair. They're all real, free from the grip of romanticism and cliché. Brea leaves open the space to observe the ickiness of this coupling and its potential allure, how this affair creates a whirlwind of attraction, intimidation, and manipulation, while also reflecting on both the insidious predation at work and the maelstrom of fears and impulses the vulnerable Anne finds herself surrounded by. This delicate balancing act is of course in collaboration with the two brilliant leads of the film, Lea Drucker and Samuel Kirscher. Drucker keeps us off balance with the ambiguity of her emotions, weaponizing her honest, approachable face to then gradually disassemble that steady gaze, then revealing a jumble of deceit. Her restrained approach gives texture to this ordinary woman who is valuable and abuses her power for sexual gratification. But with this complex role, Drucker imbues Anne with a certain moral ambiguity rarely afforded to female actors today, and she turns in career best work because of it. Drucker is well complemented by Kirscher, who crafts a very real teenage character in all of his easy-to-hate ways. Theo is selfish and entitled, with a tumultuous seesawing between intensity and calm. Kirscher captures that teen angst so authentically, as well as that thorny pull toward Anne that he thinks he wants but isn't prepared for. Brea refuses to outwardly judge both of these characters, simply probing their psychology and dramatizing the elements that lead them to violate this particular boundary. It would be so easy to blindly condemn without any nuanced dissection, but Brea is a better filmmaker than that. always questioning the things that many would brush off as unworthy of discussion or too loathsome to care about. Last Summer may not be Brea's masterpiece, but it's far and away her most emotionally incisive work yet. Less the overt provocation or immersion in numbing perversities that one might expect to find in a film about a May-December relationship, yet it will, in spite of all that, still stir up hollow discourse, even with its very delicate handling of this subject matter. It's such a piercing survey of the carefully constructed facades one creates to try and mask their insidious desires, the depths of self-delusion one plunges themselves into, yet that's still incapable of saving their moral compass from completely shattering. Brea's sheer commitment to challenging the things that so often go unchallenged, those ugliest, most revolting aspects of characters that most directors wouldn't dare touch, is admirable to no end. Her cinema continues to exist within its own lane, as revered as it is reviled. She is a true iconoclast.